is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick what to expect. Today we're going to talk about the Houston Rockets, another popular team. They've been talked about all year. They've been talked about all off season after re-signing Chris Paul and Clint Capella, losing Luke Richard Bamute and Trevor Ariza. This is a team that a lot of people feel lost a step because they lost a lot of their defensive identity. They also traded Ryan Anderson and DeAnthony Milton, who I liked, for Brandon Knight and Marquise Chris, giving his team a whole different type of look. Obviously, their goal is to beat the Golden State Warriors, and if you're able to do that, you definitely have a shot at winning the championship because the Celtics won't be easy, and they have a different type of style of play, but you definitely want to have a chance in a shot at a championship. And that's something that this Rockets team does have. To me, I personally disagree with a lot of people. I think that people are underrating this Rockets team. A lot of people have OKC higher than them. A lot of people see that the Rockets won't be as dominant. They won't be as good. And I totally disagree, but this is my opinion. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. This is just my personal opinion. And I feel like this Rockets team is still one of the top, maybe the second best team in the NBA next year besides the Golden State Warriors as they try to acclimate DeMarcus Cousins. You look at this team, and this team can put on a clinic. You still have Chris Paul, who missed a lot of games last year, but it really didn't make that much of a difference because James Harden was able to lead him in the Rockets to the NBA franchise best winning season this year with 65 wins. And also Chris Paul basically helped when James Harden was out. He was able to help them continue winning without James Harden for a couple weeks. But you still look at this team, they still have P.J. Tucker. They still have players like Gerald Green and Eric Gordon. They added Michael Carter-Williams also. Obviously, Clint Capella is a defensive anchor for them now. Can switch, can, protect the rim, can, wall off defense. Have the ability to wall off a lot of players and force them to finish above the top of him, which is difficult because he's lanky, long, and athletic. So it's hard to even get past him, let alone dunk on him, let alone successfully do it. So this team did lose a lot of talent. When you look at this roster compared to last year, you definitely see a step backwards, but you consider that they played against, obviously, they played against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round. They had two All-NBA players and Jimmy Butler and obviously Karl Anthony Towns, and they was able to really destroy them. And then you look at them going into the second round, and they ate the next team up very quickly. Obviously, they struggled against the Warriors, but they actually was up a lot of those games, even in the last two games, Game 6 and Game 7. They was up in the second quarter going into the third in both games, and they just collapsed. Obviously, that hurted them, and obviously they were just one fourth quarter away from having a chance at a championship if they can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they should have been because they were the number one offense and they were the number one team in the NBA. They wasn't the favorite because Golden State had 4 All-Stars, but they play similar, having P.J. Tucker as a small ball 4. Sometimes they play small ball 5, having guys like Ariza that can play the 4, can play the 3, that can play the 2. Same with Bamu, they play some of the 2, some of the 3, some of the 4. Obviously, that do hurt, and that do put you in an awkward situation because you wasn't able to really replace that talent. But as you've seen, Daryl Morey was smart enough to pick up guys like Gerald Green during the season, like Joe Johnson, like Brandon Wright. He was able to pick up these guys during the season. And he add more depth and more, variety and more versatility by doing that. So obviously they're in a situation where they don't have as much money and they don't have as much to do. But if you ever look at Daryl Morey the last couple of years, he has consistently made trades. And the only reason why I say that, nobody expected the Brandon Knight and Ryan Anderson trade. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was even thinking about it until one day it just popped up that Ryan Anderson got traded. Obviously, we knew that Daryl Morey wanted to trade Ryan Anderson for years after they didn't utilize him, after they, especially when they got PJ Tucker. Ryan Anderson was never a great defender. He was never, even when they gave him a $80 million contract, he never was supposed to be a defender. He never was supposed to be a two-way player. Obviously, if he was able to do it, it would have been better. But he was just there to snipe threes and give them that floor spacing for James Harden and then Chris Paul. And he served that role and he did it well. But, they still didn't get satisfied with that. They went on and signed up and traded for PJ Tucker. And obviously, the sky was the limit, and it helped them basically in the NBA playoffs. Having a guy like Tucker defending multiple positions, switching a lot, and that helps them be able to switch everything. And that's something that they didn't have the last couple of years until last year, and it was amazing. And obviously, losing a lot of those players definitely takes them a step back. This team is going to be hard to guard offensively. And that's why I think they're going to win a lot of games, and they're going to have an ability to get back to the Western Conference Finals, because this team can score out of the basketball. Adding Carmelo does add another dynamic, because that adds another isolation player. It adds another guy that can get the ball and knock down a jumper, catch and shoot the three. And on top of that, he's a guy that he can play. He's going to have to learn how to play within the system. He's going to have to be able to trust the system. But I think that would definitely be fine, because, this is a make or break for Carmelo's career. After flopping and failing in OKC, a lot of people have turned against him. A lot of people have become his enemy. A lot of people now laugh at Carmelo when you bring up his name. He's washed up. He's trash. He's no good. And I personally felt like he was one of the better players in OKC, because I didn't think who's going to replace Carmelo with. Jeremy Grant, Patrick Patterson, Corey Brewer. I don't think none of those guys are better than Carmelo, and they don't add what he did, which was scoring and floor spacing. Jeremy Grant, no. Corey Brewer can't shoot a three consistently to save his life. And then when you add on the fact that Patrick Patterson, he's not as versatile and he's not as able as Carmelo was. He was a mobile forward. Patrick Patterson never been known as a great defender, and he has never been known as a great scorer. He's a guy that can fit within the system and play his role. He can do that better than Carmelo, but Carmelo can do that and more. And that's one thing I think people were sleeping a little bit too much on Carmelo. And the Rockets, they wanted him for a reason. They kept letting you know throughout the season that they want Carmelo. They've been trying to get Carmelo for the last couple years, and now they get him to finally come, even though he is older. He is more of a worse defender, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it all. So now it's just all about acclimating him, making sure he gets the right amount of touches, he has the right role, so you can have a higher ceiling. When everybody knows their role, everybody knows what they're doing, and everybody's on the same page, this team is going to be one of the top 3, top 5 offenses in the NBA. Yes, the West has got tougher. Yes, the West have got harder. James Harden been in the West his whole career. Chris Paul been in the West his whole career. And Carmelo been in the West for a long time too. So they know what it takes, and they know how to make the playoffs, and they know how to win games. Even though they are all older, James Harden has been able to lead the team to the playoffs every single season that he's been in Houston. And a lot of those teams was some of the worst teams that Houston has had, and he was still able to lead teams with Jeremy Lin, Omer Ashik, and Chandler Parsons. Those are guys have been in turmoil. They've been going on and off other teams. They've been getting traded. They've been flying around. They've been disrespected. A lot of people gave up on them, and James Harden was still able to take those type of teams and still make the playoffs. And he was able to get to the Western Conference Finals just with Dwight Howard being the second best player. But it was a beat up and torn up Dwight Howard. It wasn't the same Dwight. You can say that James Harden was saved a little bit with Josh Smith, but that's why he's on the team, because he's a player, and that's why he got the minutes. And even though he did help come back, James Harden did help them get to that point where they was able to come back. And what I mean by that is they got out of the first round, and even if you look at the next game, James Harden played decently, and he basically won them a game against Golden State, which was their one and only game, which is sad, but the Warriors were just a better complete team. So I think that this team is going underrated. A lot of people are underrating this Houston Rockets team, but this team is just as good as a lot of other teams in the NBA. And I personally feel at the end of the day, they will figure it out. They will find out how to win games, whether it's just 7 seconds or 7 seconds or less in the shot clock, running up and down the court, trying to get easy baskets, or even just outpacing and making teams tired and just taking advantage of that. Chris Paul is one of the best playmakers and decision makers, and James Harden is one of the best playmakers and decision makers. And they put you in awkward situations. They force you to react, and then they just tear you apart, 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 and you basically got to pick your poison for 48 minutes, and that's going to be tough to beat, and that should allow them to win more games than what a lot of people are expecting. I have Houston obviously finishing as the second or third best team in the Western Conference. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish first, because this team is going to be like a well-oiled machine, and that should help them spit out a lot of quality and a lot of easy play. Especially, like I said, they're going to be hard to guard with or without Carmelo. They was hard to guard with Trevor Ariza. Carmelo is a better, more versatile offensive player than Trevor Ariza. So I definitely think that they'd be fine offensively. Defensively, they might take a huge step back. But if you can't outscore them, if you can't beat them, if you can't guard them, then it don't matter as much. It hurts them more in the playoffs than it really does hurt them in the regular season. But I definitely have Houston winning around 55 to close to 60 wins in the Western Conference, finishing second. And I do have them getting to the second round. It depends on if they play Golden State or a team like San Antonio. I can see them losing in the second round, or even, not even getting to the Western Conference Finals. If they avoid Golden State, they have a chance to get to the Western Conference Finals. But if they play San Antonio, I will personally pick San Antonio over this Houston team. If this Houston team is the number one seed, again, like they would surprise people last year, then I can definitely see them getting back to the Western Conference Finals. But I do still have them losing to the Golden State Warriors. Let me know what you guys think about this Houston Rockets team. Do you think they're overrated, underrated? Do you think they will get back to the Western Conference Final? Do you think they're going to have a better record, worse record? Or do you think they will win the whole thing? Or do you think they can lose the whole thing? Or do you think James Harden not a leader? He's not good enough in the playoffs. Chris Paul is always injured, so they're not going to do that well. Or do you think, they couldn't replace Trevor Ariza and Luke Bonamute? They were good defenders. They're going to take a huge step back, and that's going to help them lose more games. So whatever it is, let me know in the comment section below. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis, I'm gone. And check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Check out my Spreadshirt. If you want a t-shirt, if you want a hoodie, or you want any type of accessories, I have them all available on my Spreadshirt. They'll be in the description and in the comment section below. Click the link, it'll send you to my Spreadshirt. Click the link, it'll send you to my Facebook page. Click the link, it'll send you to my my website. And thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. And thanks for continuing to buy product, merchandise, and also obviously liking on Facebook. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis, I'm done.